We now have our fourth named storm of the season. Meteorologist Collen Campbell has the update.
That's right, Emerald. That means we are ahead of schedule. Usually we see 4 named storms by August 15th, so mid-August. Yes, Dexter just formed. We were expecting this. It formed from that AL 95 that we were talking about earlier off the coast of the Carolinas. Now this is a fish storm. It is going to continue moving off towards the northeast, and it's bringing no threat to the states. It's moving away from land, so that's something we'd like to see. But there's the latest cone. Again, our 4th tropical storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, a little bit ahead of schedule now. How's the rest of the tropics doing? Well, there haven't been any updates. Again, here's Dexter. We have that low chance for development still on this little area of interest that's also off the coast of the Carolinas, South Carolina mainly. And then we have this area, this tropical wave that's coming off the coast of Africa that is expected to form within the next week. That has a 40% chance within the next week, a lower chance for the next 48 hours. We're going to be going over tropics a little bit more in the full forecast. This is the latest information that we had just dropping minutes ago. And of course, you want to know what's ahead for the week with increasing rain chances. Yeah, that's all. Our first weekend in August is one for the books. We flipped the switch and the tropics are a lot busier than what they were a few weeks ago, right? So Tropical Storm Dexter, our 4th named system of the Atlantic Basin for this year. So far, we've all had tropical systems. That's it. Tropical storms, excuse me. So Dexter formed not too long ago, really got organized here within the last hour. It's located about 300 miles west-northwest of Bermuda. It's not expected to bring big impacts to Bermuda, so that's good. We've been saying how this system will be staying away from land. But here's a cone for anybody curious. Again, we've been saying that it is going to move off towards the northeast, away from the states, away from Bermuda, which is good news. But what about the other storms? Well, we will get to those too. But first, let's touch again on those 4 named storms that we had so far. We are a little bit ahead of schedule. We had Andrea, Barry, Chantal, and Dexter. Now, if we look at climate data over the past 30 years, I went over this last night, but usually we have our first named storm June 20th. Andrea, we had June 24th, so we did get a slow start to the season. Our first hurricane is usually named around August 11th. So far, we have not had a hurricane for the Atlantic Basin. However, usually by this point, we only have 3 named storms, meaning tropical storms or hurricanes. Again, we haven't had any hurricanes yet, thankfully, but now we have 4. So we are slightly ahead of schedule because usually we don't see 4 named systems until about August 15th. And again, that's just going off of 30 years of data there. The first major hurricane, Cat 3 or stronger, usually around September 1st. All right, so getting into the rest of the tropics here, we still have this area pretty close to where Dexter is. It's still very unorganized at this time, only has a 20% chance of development within the next week. Then we have this tropical wave that has emerged off of the coast of Africa. That is in the main development region. So when we say the main development region, that's where we look for these little seedlings, if you will, to start turning into tropical systems. So that is something we are going to keep our eye on. However, notice how it's in the open Atlantic, and hopefully it will stay there as a fish storm. This system is actually the one that we do want to pay close attention to, just because it is closer to land, even though it hasn't really formed yet. And again, it's still in its baby stage, as I like to say. So we will keep an eye on that as the week goes on. But for now, Dexter's out to sea, and that other one still a wave, but we are going to look at that too. As we look at satellite and radar here, this is part of what's fueling all of that moisture, right? We have a stalled out frontal boundary to the north of us. That has kind of shifted our winds a little bit. You will start to notice better rain coverage this upcoming week because we have a southeast wind that will start to take over. Lately, we've had a southwesterly wind the past few days. We do still have some rain that's caught up in Polk County, the far eastern edge of Polk County, also southern Highlands County seeing some rain and some lightning too. Otherwise, temperatures are very muggy once again for tonight. So we're sitting in those low 80s. Yeah, it's another warm one. We have 86 in St. Petersburg, 11 o'clock at night, and Port Manatee's at 87. So yes, not very comfortable outside by any means. As we move forward into futurecast, tomorrow morning we could see a coastal shower for those areas like Crystal River. You may see a brief rinse on your way to work. Otherwise, again, we have those sea breezes notice that set up from the southwest and the southeast as we move into the afternoon, and it will lead to better rain coverage as we move into this upcoming week. So we have a little bit of a pattern